Welcome back to the chat. In case you missed it earlier, we were talking about men who are offering to have sex with women for free to help get them pregnant. 2020 did a documentary profiling 3 men who are offering their services. Here is a quick clip from that documentary. Take a look.
Joe waits in his car until she texts with the room number. That's his cue to head in.
Hey!
Hi there. Nice to see you again.
All right, our legal contributor Heather Quick is now joining us, and I didn't see any terms and conditions agreed to during this exchange. So what kind of legal ramifications could the male donor be facing, and also the potential mother of this child?
First of all, you're making the same face we were all making. We first saw that.
Yeah. It was awful when I watched it. I just am like, how stupid are people? I mean, I'm sorry, you want a baby, but that is not the way it was intended to happen.
Right,
So
no
it
kidding.
just doesn't work that way. They're both facing a lot of legal ramifications. Those fathers have legal rights as their parent. There's no contract there. It's very different when you go to a sperm bank. We talked about, what you do pay for. You get a lot of safety and security out of that, but you then get your own baby. There's no parental rights for that donor when that happens. And here it's wide open. And these guys are wide open on child support.
Yeah,
I think they're both risking a lot. These women, they don't even know this guy.
Now, could these women come after him for child support?
Yes.
Wow.
And
Absolutely.
And what if the father decides down there, especially the one who says he was motivated because he wanted to have a lot of children, if he decided he wanted to be a part of their life later down the road, does he have legal rights? Like visitation?
Wow.
Wow.
Yes,
Unless there's some kind of contract that's happening that we don't see behind the scenes.
Exactly. And these cases exist. They're in Florida. I have seen them. They've been litigated. And folks exactly saying that, well, we're doing the insemination just the old-fashioned way, and we have a contract. And when you can prove it is merely for the act of impregnating the woman, and both parties are in the same, frame of mind with that, then she can't get child support, nor can he get visitation. And there have been cases on both sides in Florida with that exact issue.
But that has to be specified and put in writing up front before conception.
Yes, at least in Florida, that's what the law has shown. So he may, he's posted these ads on Craigslist. Who knows how they respond? And I'm assuming Craigslist, I'm sorry, I'm just saying that, but that does happen. And so we'd have to assume, what was their communication? Did they talk about that? You do have to talk about financial concerns, like I want nothing to do with the child afterwards. Or let's just do this, I want kids all over the country. Okay, then you're going to have to pay for them if she seeks that.
In my opinion, he's nothing but a male prostitute.
Yeah, and almost worse because the intent is to procreate with somebody you don't even know.
Right.
And you don't intend to have a relationship with, so it's worse.
Does the legality of this change at all because they're not seeking compensation? Like the males are not seeking any form of payment for their service?
Well, exactly, because when we had, I know your quotes when we did that story.
You can't air quote that one. Well, he did get payment because she read his term paper for him while she was lying there waiting for the sperm to activate.
That was awful.
And she gave him a B. Really and if I'm going after a guy to impregnate me because I want him because he's an engineering MBA student, I want an A student. I don't want a B student.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, all right. So moving on to another story that we were just talking about a moment ago. We wanted to get your take on, Heather, as our legal expert. We were talking about the women recently coming forward with allegations that Bill Cosby allegedly raped them when they were younger. Let's assume that the allegations are true for a second, and this alleged rape happened years ago. What is the statute of limitations for them to come forward now to try to pursue criminal charges? And I guess it varies from state to state. Is that right, as far as that goes?
It does. It varies from state to state, and more likely than not, that statute of limitations has expired. Where you're going to see an extended statute of limitations in sexual assault is on minors, because they don't realize, they don't understand. Typically, they're going to be in a different type of relationship. And specifically in Florida, it is until they really knew, because they have that classification under 18. It may be years later till you realize and come forward. And in these adult women situation, they're not going to get that type of statute of limitations, even civilly and criminally. It'll be different.
Is there a number? Is there no more than 10 years?
It's generally 2.
2.
Oh, wow.
It's generally 2 for a civil case, 2 to 5, and really every cause of action is different because of the nature of the crime. Like, you're going to know right away. Medical malpractice, you may not know right away the date when it occurred.
Wait,
Maybe
you just said for
sometime
civil
later.
or criminal?
Civil, all for
Civil.
civil. Now, criminal, there are longer statute of limitations, absolutely. They're much longer, generally can be closer to 10 years for something like rape.
So clearly the statute of limitations has passed for criminal charges for these women if they wanted to pursue that route. So is there any other recourse? Because I would have thought the next
Well,
step
civil, if
was
it's shorter than
civil.
that.
Right, but then that's shorter, and Stacey commented a little earlier that whenever she hears the word settlement, that kind of always, it's a little squirrely for her, but what recourse, if any,
You
do
have
they
no other recourse because we know in the burden in criminal, it is beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil, it's preponderance of the evidence. So you just have to show 51% essentially in civil. In these cases, it's almost always her word against his. There can be some physical evidence, but then there's that consensual agreement. And that's if they have followed up immediately and there is physical evidence. So it's very difficult. And the only way in the justice system and, in our legal system, you can seek any kind of, you're never going to get it back, what happened to you and all that physical, emotional distress. So the money's the only way.
But that's gone with the civil lawsuit not being in the cards.
Absolutely. And so I feel like when you look at these reports and these women, there's nothing to gain. Money's gone. I mean, now, yes, he can pay them to be quiet, but...
So why are they coming forward? And that was one of the questions that we were talking about earlier in the show. Is it just that they want to bring light to this because they had these allegations and they said, a lot of them, I didn't come forward because nobody would have believed that this had happened. And so they were silent, and all of a sudden they started seeing these other women come out in 2006 when the civil case settled. And then all of a sudden all the stuff came out with the meme and the comedian and Barbara Bowden. And then all of a sudden it's resurfaced again. But is that going to be the end of the story?
I think it'll die down shortly because they don't have a civil action. If they had an action with which they could file suit, it wouldn't die down. There would be more to it. But I think you probably want to come forward and say, listen, he's not this great guy you think he is, and this is what happened to all of us. And maybe by that, it could help another woman in that situation who waited because she didn't think anyone would believe her. So if we look at it from that perspective, and maybe that's why they're doing it. There's no money to gain for them now.
And again, no charges, nothing like this. So that's why people, I think, are criticizing Bill Cosby, because if they say this never did happen, then come forward and say that instead of going through your attorney. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. As always, we appreciate you. And if you have any questions for Heather, if you need any legal advice, you can check out the Quick Law Group's website, which is quicklawgroup.com. So we'll come on the chat. We'll show you what a biologist found on the handles of bathroom doors here at the station.